So we're going to go through all the little pieces because those little pieces are the foundation for building on other things. My grade 12 just finished their trig unit, and they ended up having to graph these things. So they're living in a different place. Okay, trig ratios. These are your tangent, sine, and cosine, and there are primary trig ratios. Until you get to grade 12 pre-cal, these are the only three trig ratios you deal with. Okay, so grade 12 pre-calculus, we get into a few more, but your life is full and complete with sine, cosine, and tangent. These trig ratios can be used to find missing sides or missing angles, but they're used for right-angle triangles. They're used for right-angle triangles. It's limited to, the ratios we're going to use are limited to right-angle triangles. When you get into grade 11 essentials, 11 pre-cal, 11 applied, you do some trig formulas, but not in right-angle triangles. So these ones we're gonna start with right angles. Do you guys know what makes a right-angle triangle a right-angle triangle?
90 degrees.
Has one angle of 90 degrees. Okay, and so if you are not familiar with that, when there's a box in the corner, that means that that angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so when it's not there. Okay, so what you also need to know is we're going to start labeling triangles, and there's a very specific way that we have to label them. You okay, Dia? You sure? Okay. Okay. The angles for triangles are labeled with capital letters. Okay. Sometimes we use Greek letters as the variables. And the sides of the triangle, we use lowercase letters. And they're lowercase letters, and we name the sides opposite to the vertex of a triangle. Anybody want to know what vertex is? Anybody know what vertex is?
Places where lines intersect.
Yeah, so it's the corners, right? The pointy parts. In math, we like to give them fancy names, but really, this right here, where these two meet, is a vertex. All right, so looking at this triangle here, side A is always across from angle A. So the side is opposite to it. So side A would be down here. Side B would be across from that. So that would be side B. And then side C would be across from that side. So lowercase for your sides, uppercase for your angles. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Okay, sometimes we use the Greek alphabet to represent an angle. And the ones that we use the most are theta. That's a big one right here, theta. And we will use alpha and beta as well. So to make the symbol theta, it's literally just a circle and a loop through it. So that's theta, TH, theta. And we use that a lot, and that represents an angle. All right. So does that make sense to everybody? I can also label my sides as two capital letters. And it makes a little bit of sense when I do it. So side A could be labeled as BC. So I'm using capital letters because I'm going from angle B to angle C. So side A could also be called BC. Just sometimes we interchange those, and I forget that maybe we don't know that yet. So looking at side A, that's going from the vertex B to the vertex C. And And these are things that I expect you to know, and you are going to use them in all your other math courses, no matter what math you take, whether it's essentials, applied, or pre-cal, you need to know how to label a triangle properly. So super important that you take the time to really understand this. Okay, so now that's how we label a triangle properly. Now we're going to label some sides based on angles. So there's 3 sides that we have to label, Arun. What are you doing? Okay, all right. I was just worried about you there. Okay, so we have 3 different kinds of sides: hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. So hypotenuse, and hopefully you guys have done Pythagorean theorem before, a squared plus b squared equals c squared?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you know what the hypotenuse is?
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of. Well, you needed to know for Pythagorean theorem, but it's okay if you forgot. Yeah, Rahat?
I have a question regarding the Greek letters.
Sure.
So instead of writing A, B, or C, we could put alpha, beta, or theta?
Yeah.
Okay, but do we have to, or it's just font?
Sometimes I will indicate an angle with a theta. And I just need you to know that you're solving for whatever that vertex is. So just, again, the interchangeable, right? Like, so that you know both ways the language goes.
Remember
Y
our
as
unit
indicated on the alphabet.
Pardon?
Why not ABY as indicated?
Because that would be too easy.
ABYEZ.
So alpha, beta, what's the 3rd letter?
Alpha, beta,
Yeah.
theta?
Yeah.
Gamma?
Alpha, beta, gamma, delta,
Okay.
epsilon.
Oh, yeah,
It might be used for something else. Like we know delta is already used for change, right? So Greek letters, because this is where math well, there's a lot, like Arabic built our number system. So we've got a long history in math. So Greek had a huge influence on it. So that's why we use the Greek letters. But lots of different places and cultures gave us amazing things in math. I don't know what I just got on myself. Okay, let's go back to hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is always the side across from the right angle. And just for funsies, it's always the longest side. But you can't look at, I guess I should write side there. You can't just say, oh, that looks like the longest side, so that must be the hypotenuse. It has to be directly across from the right angle. All right, my brain's a little distracted. A week off, and I'm like struggling to get through. All right, so if we go back to this top triangle here, what side is my hypotenuse? Brilliant. And so the abbreviated version of hypotenuse, because nobody's got the time to write all that out, is hype. Okay? Without the E.
Oh, and now when will be our unit test?
Man, we haven't even got through lesson 1. Chill your jets.
That's what those are.
Okay, so the opposite and the adjacent side, the nice thing about the hypotenuse is it never changes location, but the adjacent and the opposite side are relevant or are affected by what angle we're looking at. So across from the indicated angle. So let's go up here. I need an erasable pen because I'm gonna.
Does it say off on the second?
Yeah. OPP, opposite.
The opposite.
Okay. So I have to indicate an angle. So I'm going to indicate angle B. So I'm going to say that's my theta right there. So what side is opposite to angle B? What side on this triangle is opposite to this angle B? B. This is my opposite side. So if this is my hypotenuse and this is my opposite side, what does side C have to be?
Just adjacent.
The adjacent side. Okay, if you've never heard of the word adjacent, what it means is next to. Like if we were to look it up in a thesaurus, adjacent just means next to or beside. I like that the adjacent side makes up the angle with the hypotenuse. Okay? Everybody good with that? So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to erase that. So now if my indicated angle is angle C, which side is my opposite? C. So last time it was my adjacent because it was with angle B, but this time it switches its name because it's now across from angle C. So these really do depend on what angle you're looking at. And so that would mean angle or side B is the adjacent side. This is super important that you guys can label a triangle properly because you are then going to make a decision based on the sides and the angles that you have on how you're going to solve it. All right, here we go. Pop quiz. Which side is adjacent to angle? Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's the symbol for angle. Just in case you were wondering what that, it's not a greater than sign, it's got a flat bottom. Can I zoom in? Is that what you need? Put your hand down, Rahat. Put your hand down. Put your hand down. Okay. So I'm going to ask everybody to answer this question on their own. So circle in pencil what you think is the correct answer. Which side is adjacent to angle D? So there's angle D right there. What side is adjacent? It may help you to label your hypotenuse first. Where's your hypotenuse? It's right across from the 90-degree. So that one would be my hypotenuse. So now knowing that, which one is adjacent? Are you guys ready to see the answer?
Yeah.
For the guy who needed me to zoom in, do you have the answer for this, River?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
I put C.
And you would be correct.
Damn. I'm always right.
I'm not sure. Okay, I was going to say, like, that's a pretty strong statement.
I get that. I don't get it.
Okay.
Here, look, I'll teach you him. Oh, you don't know, I'll teach you. Okay, look.
Got it?
Pardon? Is opposite the hypotenuse. That's one way to think of it, yeah. But couldn't this be opposite to the hypotenuse as well? Right? So it depends on how you look at it, right?
But your hypotenuse could be your adjacent side.
No, it cannot. No, it cannot.
Because it is height. It is height. It is
Okay.
It cannot be your hypotenuse.
Okay.
I get it. Yeah. Like it's like.
Do you get it?
Yeah, use some more options stuff and like it just click.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I said maybe you need to look at the hypotenuse first is that side doesn't change based on whatever angle we're looking at. So I think one of the strategies that I use is I always label my hypotenuse first, and then I only have two sides to worry about. Okay, so we know that it's adjacent because adjacent means next to the angle. So DF would be this side. So that would be my adjacent side right there. Okay. So now we're going to slide over to pop quiz number 2. Strategy, label your hypotenuse first.
Is it C? No.
Is the hypotenuse C?
No. Which side is the opposite? Is it C?
No. Nope. Okay, before you start, let's label our hypotenuse first. So where is the hypotenuse? It's always going to be across from the 90-degree angle. Okay? So that is hypotenuse over there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I know what angle I'm looking at. I'm looking at angle P. So that's this one up here. So opposite is not touching the angle. So I already have this side done. So which side is across from the angle? MN. So the correct answer is A.
Stop calling me the R word. I'm still learning.
Okay, everybody good with that? Once you get it, it goes really quickly, but it's like making sure you have it. All right, more pop quizzes. So this is a case where I didn't give you any letters for anything, but I have indicated the angle with the letter theta. So go ahead and label, the hypotenuse is already done for you, so you're going to label your opposite and your adjacent side. Which one's your opposite and which one's your adjacent? True story. But hopefully it's 100% chance. Mm-hmm.
Identify the side.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find the indicated angle.
It tells you.
Oh,
Okay, you guys ready to see? Sure. So your adjacent is next to the angle. The angle's indicated right here. So it is the one that touches or makes up the angle. And opposite won't touch the angle. The opposite side will not touch the angle. It's a cross. Okay, next one. Now the angle changed here. So now it's angle alpha and it's up top. Mm-hmm. Yes, the adjective.
what? Oh my God.
Are you good to see?
No.
No?
I made a grave mistake. Please forgive my innocence.
Okay, I'm good.
My ignorance,
Okay.
sorry.
How'd you do there?
Okay, now I am ready to be revealed.
But that was one from last time.
Pardon?
You, wait. Oh, I thought we were doing the next one.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So now this one, I'm all zoomed in for Arun. He's not paying attention to me. So this one says, identify the hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent side with the specified angle. So the angle isn't shown here, but it's stated here. So what angle am I looking at? Angle X, so that is right there. The hypotenuse you can always label even if you don't know what the other indicated angle is, but the opposite and adjacent are relying on that piece of information. I always start with my hypotenuse. Are you guys ready to see the first one? How did you guys do on that? Good? Sorta, kinda? Do you have a question? Okay. Okay, next one. Next one. Hypotenuse is directly across from the 90-degree angle. Directly across from the 90-degree angle. So that is my hypotenuse. The side that touches the angle is my adjacent side, and the only one that's left over is the op.
Yeah. That'd be a good band name.
Bro,
You gotta put your hand off. The ops.
the name for your ops.
Okay, I find it helpful to label my angles. Like if it's done like this, I like to draw it actually on the triangle. It keeps things visual for me. So I'm starting with my hypotenuse right away. So across from the 90 degrees, this is my hypotenuse. And then the side that makes up the angle or touches the angle is my adjacent. And the other side, the one across from the angle, is opposite.
Just a guessing game.
It's not a guessing game. You got them all wrong? Oh, good. Okay. Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right, now that you know that, there's 3 trig ratios. So we're going to start with sine. So sine of the angle is equal to the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, 3 trig formulas. They're always on my backboard. They live there because I use them a lot. Okay, so yes,
So the SOHCAHTOA.
they are SOHCAHTOA.
SOHCAHTOA. S-O-H. Sine. Opposite side.
Okay, so really important. Let's break down the parts of the formula. So sine, again, it's abbreviated to SIN. On your calculators, you should have trigonometric buttons that say sine, cos, and tan on it, and that's what we're going to be using this unit. So make sure you have those. So obviously this is an angle, this is a side length, and that's also a side length, okay? So these are side lengths, and this is what we call a trig ratio. It looks like we're dividing it or a fraction, but it can also be called a ratio. So this whole thing here is our trig ratio. So sine is the first one that we do. So it involves the opposite and the hypotenuse side. This is why it's so important to know how to label a triangle. Because if you don't know which side's your opposite side or which side's your hypotenuse, you're going to use the wrong trig formulas. Okay, cosine. So cos of the angle is equal to the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. So again, this is an angle, and that's a side length.
I like that first part.
Trig, once you get it, is really easy, and most people enjoy it.
It's SOHCAHTOA, man.
What is that?
It's an abbreviation, it's an anagram. Not an anagram. What are they called?
Annotation?
No. What are they called when you make up like a saying to remember something?
Onomatopoeia.
Talking about onomatopoeia? Is that what you're talking about? I think, isn't that when things sound alike?
Oxymoron?
No.
Bro, what even is that?
We need an English teacher. So the last one is tan, and this one is the only one that doesn't have the hypotenuse in it. So this one is, okay, can you turn it off? Oh no, I keep hearing somebody's phone or some noise of some kind. And I would really, 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 really encourage you guys to write the trig formulas down every time you start a question. And I know it's extra work and I know it's an extra line, but it really does help you memorize them, like the muscle memory of writing it down and knowing what goes with what. Do you have a question?
Do we have to punch it in?
Oh, we will do both. There's lots of things that we're going to do with these. Okay, so the SOHCAHTOA This is the one. This is the one that everybody remembers for trig functions. SOHCAHTOA. So is your sine. Sine of the angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of the angle is opposite over hypotenuse. Ka is your cosine. So cos of the angle is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And the TOA is tan of the angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. So there's where the SOHCAHTOA comes from. There's other ones on my backboard like, oh no, stuff about like asparagus and things like that.
Asparagus?
Yeah, there's all kinds. Like you can read them on the board. Some old hags can't afford husbands till old age. That's another one. Just a way to help remember the trig formulas and what goes with what. SOHCAHTOA is nice. You'll see t-shirts made with like Camp SOHCAHTOA on them. I don't know, Old Navy was selling them a little while ago, and they were really great because it was math stuff on and people were buying them and they thought they were super cool, which they were. Okay, everybody good with that? You are going to have to commit to memory. You're going to have to, okay, all right. Okay, here we go. We're gonna make choices about what trig formula to use. We're not gonna actually do them. We're just gonna make some choices. To calculate the length of LM, what trig formula would you use? So you've got angle N. What side is side 4.2? Is it my hypotenuse, my opposite, or my adjacent? It is my hypotenuse. What side am I looking for? LM. So I'm looking for this side. What side is that? Is that my opposite or my adjacent? It is my opposite. Okay, so now that I know that, I can answer the question. I'm looking for my opposite, I have my hypotenuse, and I know my angle. Would that be sine or cosine?
No sine. Wait, hold up.
Trig formulas?
So. Oh.
And you guys are going to get so tired of writing these, but I swear it will stick in your head. Okay, those are your trig formulas. So which one has opposite and hypotenuse in it?
So.
No, that's not what we call the formula.
Sine.
Sine. All right. So we are looking for the opposite. We have the hypotenuse. So I need a formula with those two side lengths in it. And the option would be sine. So we want to pick option A here.
What?
I just explained why.
Do you know?
Okay. All right. Well, then let's try question number 2. No. Everybody would like a chance. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label the sides. What side am I trying to find? I'm trying to find RT. So I am trying to find that side here. What type of side is that? Is that my hypotenuse, my opposite? Okay, so I'm trying to find my hypotenuse. I have this angle here, 50. So what side is 4.2?
Adjacent?
It is your adjacent, because it makes up the angle, it touches the angle. So now, what trig formula has adjacent in it and has hypotenuse in it?
Oops.
So this one is the cos. It's not ka. There is no trig formula called ka. Okay, we're going to do this again. Okay. I have side that has a side length of 3 and I have a side length of 6. What side length does 6 represent? Hypotenuse, opposite, or adjacent? Hypotenuse. Okay, we're trying to find angle C. We're trying to find angle C. What side length does 3 represent? Opposite or adjacent? Adjacent. So what trig formula has adjacent and hypotenuse? Cos. Okay, you guys do the last one. Yeah, circle. Because we're doing trig. It's the best part of the day. I'm recording. Okay. Yeah, but you're going to get recorded.
Did you order 50 plugs and adapters?
50 plugs and adapters. Where?
Thanks away. Well, it's not on Amazon. It was like a purchase order. We don't know where it came from. So the only person that would order them could you.
Plugs and adapters.
Yeah.
50.
And Trevor said they're pretty expensive.
What?
I said, I don't think so. You would have ordered through Joe.
But I would have put it in through Kelly because I'm a
Yeah.
GPO.
So no, it was not 50.
But what kind of plugs and what kind of adapters? Oh,
But you didn't order 50 adapters.
I don't think so, but
I looked at all the Amazon. It wasn't in there. I looked for the Visa. Didn't see anything in there.
I don't know. I don't want to
Should
say
I get
no.
him to bring them over so we can look at them and see if they are?
Yeah.
Maybe take it home?
I'd like to see what the adapters are. Okay. All right, are you guys ready for the answer?
Yep. I already know what today.
I got to be repeated.
Did you guys get tangent?
Yep.
So the only way you can figure it out is if you label your sides. That's the only way you can figure it out. So I was trying to find the length of KL, so I highlighted that. I had angle 52, and I had the information for the other side. I have nothing on the hypotenuse, so I'm not going to label it. The hypotenuse would be no help to me, because if I'm looking for this side, and it has no information, and I highlight the hypotenuse, it also has no information. I need 2 pieces of information, an angle and a side, or 2 sides. Okay, you need to get your calculator out. You need to get your calculator.
Miss Gallia,
What?
what's the difference between degree, rad, and grad?
They're all different types of angle measurements.
Like last night, I was trying to practice some trigonometry, and then I noticed that like when the calculus being grad and rad.
You'd have the wrong answer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you have your calculator, and you need to make sure it is in degree mode. We are only dealing with degrees. We don't know angles and anything else. All right. So if I'm looking at my calculator screen, okay, Dion, whatever is distracting you on your phone, you need to put it away. Well, not a great calculator because you're going to get those taken away from you on the quiz and the test. So if you don't have a scientific calculator, I really would encourage you to purchase one. You know they're scientific calculators if they have the hypotenuse, sine, cosine, tan. Actually, I've never had a hypotenuse button. You're looking for sine, cosine, tan on it. Okay, on your screen, you should see the letter D. If you don't have the degree symbol, if you have an R, or if it says DEG, that's good. If you have RAD, that's not good. If you have GRD, that is also not good. So there should be a button somewhere for mode on your calculator if you need to change it. No, not second function, change the mode. If you need me to help find, please. No, that's not where we want to be. Your ingredients. Shift. Yours is like mine, and I fixed mine yesterday. Yours is a little bit different. Oh, DRG is down here. So shift. So shift, and then see that DRG button, and then just pick number 1. Okay. All right. Okay. You're in the right one. DEG. Right up there. Okay, so you're good. All right. Are you ready? Okay. You need to go into Dion. You need to go into no, you need to go into mode. Oh, sorry, you can't see mine. Go into mode and make sure that your degree is highlighted. Okay. Put your phone away. Whatever magical game. At least his is sideways.
Yeah, mine's sideways.
Okay, all right. I forgive you. All right. So we're going to do this. We're going to put in tangent of 45, and that's why we had to be in degrees, because we're talking about degrees. So you're going to hit, now this is the confusing thing. Some of your calculators, you put in the 45, and then you'll hit tan. In my calculator, I hit tan, and then I put in the 45. Okay? So tan, and then I type in 45, and then I'm going to close my brackets, and I'm going to hit equals, and it should give me an answer of 1. So you guys have to figure out how it works on your calculator, because every calculator is just a little bit different. So the answer to this is 1. Okay, everybody good there? Okay, what says error? Just tan and then 45. Can I see? Perfect. Degree is the most common.
Oh, is there a line
No, we haven't. No.
in the degree?
So your ingredients.
I did the degree, like where you go shift and then.
So shift here, option 1. Okay, so that wasn't it. Never mind. That doesn't do that one. Okay. Okay, there you go. I got it in degrees for you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So when you have the angle, you just use the basic tan and then 45 degrees. You put that in your calculator like that. Easy peasy. So now we're going to do the opposite. I've given you the decimal, and you're going to have to find the angle. So this requires another button move. So you're going to have to do shift. So let me clear that. So I'm going to do shift. Some of you will have second function. So you're going to do, what? Sure. You're going to do shift, and then you're going to hit tan, and you're going to see that it comes up a little bit differently this time. It comes up as tan -1. It shouldn't say tan H. So now what we're going to do is we're going to type in 1.5. Okay, so when you're looking for the angle, you have to use the shift button. And you're going to hit equals. Because this is in degrees, this is 56.31 degrees. So this one would be shift tan, and it comes up as tan negative 1, 1.5. So it's really important that when you're looking for an angle,
That's what I call a space, where squares have 5 sides.
it should have a second function button. So shift or second function depending on what your calculator does. So it's really important you have the calculator you're going to be using. So when you borrow somebody else's or you're flipping back and forth between a phone, it will happen. The keystrokes are a little bit different. So you really want to use just one calculator. All right, I'm flipping the page. You guys good? Everybody get the answer to that. It was 56.3. All right, guys, we're going to write the ratio for tan of D. So start here. We're going to write the ratio of tan of angle D. Tan of angle D. So that's the angle right there. So what's the formula for tan? Maybe that's best that we write that down first. So tan of the angle is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side.
That makes the D,
Pardon?
it makes D in that little angle.
Here?
Yeah.
Theta.
Uh,
Okay, you guys need some glasses.
one inch is 7
Again, you need some glasses.
fine.
Oh, it's fine, is it? Okay, so based on angle D, which side is my opposite? Is it the 3 or is it the 4? The 3 is the opposite side. Because it doesn't touch the angle, it's across from it. So 4 would be my adjacent side. Because my hypotenuse is right across from the 90-degree angle. So knowing that, what would be this fraction that we write here? We got to put opposite over adjacent. So what would it be? 3/4. Okay, good job, everybody. Now I'm going to erase all that. And now I'm going to do tan of angle E. So now my angle has moved to up there. So, which side is my opposite side now? Okay, which side is my adjacent? Maybe that's a little bit easier. Which one touches the angle? Right, 3. So it used to be my opposite side, but I've changed angle, so now it's my adjacent. Okay, so the formula doesn't change. Now I put in my opposite over my adjacent. I keep that still. So now what's my trig ratio? What's that fraction I'm going to write there? Guys, it's pretty straightforward. Which side is my opposite side? 4. So what's my numerator? 4. What's my adjacent side? 3. This does not change. There's no change there. The formula always stays the same. The opposite will always be on top in tan. Okay? So that doesn't change. What do you notice about these? Same numbers, but they're just flipped, right? Okay. Here we go. Okay. We're going to use angle D this time in this one. So angle D down here. And we're going to identify the opposite in the adjacent side. Would it help you to do the hypotenuse first? Okay, so do the hypotenuse first. All right, now which side touches the angle? The 12 or the 5? The 12 touches the angle, right? It touches the angle. So this is the adjacent side. And then that means 5 is my opposite. Okay, so we've done that. And now we're going to do the ratios for sine and cosine of angle D. So sine of the angle is equal to the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse, and cos of the angle is equal to the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. Those are the two trig formulas from the other page. I just keep writing them over and over again so that I remember. So now we're going to do sine of D. So sine of D. So which side is our opposite? You've got it labeled up here. Which side is our opposite? 5. So that's my numerator. Which side is my hypotenuse? 13. So that's determining sine of D. You're just making the fraction for it. So now you're going to do cosine of D. So what's my numerator? 12. What's my denominator? 13. All right, good job. That was a lot of stuff to take in, and it is super foundational, super, super duper important.